إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. I welcome all of you, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, and this is the part number 3 of this lecture series في قواعد في تزكية النفس, principles pertaining to the purification of the soul, لفضيلة الشيخ الدكتور عبد الرزاق ابن عبد المحسن البدر حفظهم الله. And this is a lecture that I have taken from the website of our beloved Sheikh الدكتور عبد الرزاق, the son of our beloved Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Badr al-Abbad al-Badr حفظهم الله. May Allah preserve both of them, their family members, and preserve the rest of our noble scholars and the Muslims. الأمر الخامس من القواعد المهمة في هذا الباب. Inshallah, tonight we will continue and bring you the 5th principle. But before that, who can remind us of the 4th ones? One brother that can say all of them, or 2, each one mention 2 principles, or 4 that mention, each one of them mention 1. نعم يا أخي. Which one you choose? All 4 of them? Can you come 1 base or 2 bases closer? You're like 4 bases far away. Jazakallah. Hold on. Say it again. No. That the number 1, the first principle, is that purification of the soul is in Allah's hand. And since this is the case, the brother says the second principle is that since only Allah purify whom He will, so ask it from Allah. Ask Allah. That purification, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it. Naam. Yes, but what is the title to that one? We gave a title. Al-Kitabu Al-Quran Kitabu Tazkiyat al-Nafs. The Quran is the book that leads to the purification of the soul. Now, number 4, Al-Iqtida'u bil-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, no way, no one can be purified except through following the example of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ahsan, jazakallah khair. Al-Amr al-Khamis, the 5th principle, At-Tazkiyah Takhliya wa Tahliya. That the tazkiyah, purification, is takhliya and tahliya. And once again, the sunnah is we drink with the right hand, not with the left. Jazakumullah khairan, barakallahu feekum. We need to keep up with one another. We hope, inshallah ta'ala, you gotta observe around you, inshallah. Tayyib, jazakumullah khairan. We're human beings and we forget. That's why we need each other to remind one another. I'm not gonna point out anybody, but alhamdulillah, we still have to give advice, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. At-tazkiyah takhliya wa tahliya. What does that mean? That a purification for a person to does it the right way, they have to give up certain things, stay away from certain things, and act upon others, and adorn themselves with others. Okay? حقيقة التزكية تخلية وتحلية. The Shaykh says actually this is the reality of purification. If somebody really is purifying himself and want to do the right things and do the correct job, such person should apply these 2 terms, تخلية وتحلية. تجمع أمرين دل عليهما أصل مدلول هذه اللفظة في اللغة وظل عليهم نصوص الشرع. And he says, and this is because we have texts in the Quran that command us to stay away from certain things. That's takhliya. You leave alone certain matters. and also you adorn yourself and follow and act upon and apply other things, yes, we have them in the Quran. And in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ we are commanded to apply certain things. والتزكية تنقية للنفس من الرذائل والحقارات والدناءات. What is that thing that we should leave alone and clean ourselves and purify ourselves from? All despicable, vile, low base characteristics, statements, actions. Anything that is not good in our deen of Allah. Anything that is not pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're struggling with it, let us fight and continue to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us. وتنمية لها بالفضائل والأعمال الصالحات والطاعات الزاكيات. And likewise, you purify your soul by elevating the rank, rising the level of Iman by acting upon obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by doing righteous actions. That's purification. So you stay away from the haram and act upon that which is permissible. You do the obligation and stay away from the prohibitions. These are the things. Say that which is pleasing to Allah and abstain and stay away from what is displeasing to Allah. Be where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to be and stay away from what Allah tells you not to be, and the like. فالزكاة الشرعية المطلوبة من المؤمن طهارة ونماء. طهارة للنفس بتنقيتها وتخليتها من الرذائل من الحقارات من الخسائس ونماء النفس بالفضائل. Once again the Shaykh, he gives a summary. He says purifying the soul should be achieved through means that are legislated. It should be achieved through means that are legislated, because we have enough. We have enough in Islam. There is no need for somebody to go and try to purify himself through other means that are not legislated to us. Such person wasting time, and they will not be successful. Because inventing ways that is not from the deen, that's an innovation. And remember, one of the principles the Shaykh mentioned, that there is no way for a person to purify himself except through following the Sunnah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if somebody is inventing ways or thinking that some ways from other people, sometimes the kuffar, and they think that those things they're going to purify himself, and he didn't try the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's a big mistake. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nur, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ وَيَحْفَظُوا فُرُوجَهُمْ ذَلِكَ أَزْكَى. شُفت أَزْكَى لَهُمْ وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا يَصْنَعُونَ. Surah An-Nur, verse number 30. Tell the believing men to lower their gaze and protect their private parts from illegal sexual acts. That is purer, we're talking about purification, that is purer for them. Verily Allah is all aware of what they do. The Shaykh says, when a person leave off the haram and stay away from sins, from sinning, all of this is considered tazkiyah and purification. You stay away from the haram. You know it's sin, try your best to stay away from it. This is purification to the soul. And we give an example. If you want to keep that white thobe nice, you be sitting on the mud. I'm asking you. Huh? No, you don't. Because you know what's going to happen. You're going to avoid things. You're going to avoid mud. Avoid what? Ketchup. Mustard. Right or wrong? You want to get that rib, man, that barbecue, but you don't want to, you got to be careful of the barbecue sauce. Right or wrong? So you want to stay away from anything that might tarnish and blemish your thobe. And on top of that, you're going to keep it clean, right? You wash it, you put it in the wash. If you don't do these things, can I ask you a question? If we don't do things, if you sit in the mud, do your clothing stay clean? You want to keep your clothes clean, right? Can you sit in the mud outside and then your clothing stay clean? Ahsant. What's your name? Basim. And how old are you? Adam? Your name Adam. How old are you, Adam? Ahsant. Barakallah. Jazakallah khairan. Tayyib. See? 5 years old. He knows what's going on. Alhamdulillah. So this is when you stay away from sinning, from haram. That's purification of the soul. النفس تزكى بالبعد عن الحرام. Because we know the importance of purifying the soul. Now, if somebody wants to purify himself, well, he got to do this. You got to stay away from haram. This is the first side. وكذلك بتنميتها بالفضائل والطاعات. These two things, they work together. Stay away from haram and act upon the halal. Alright? Stay away from the prohibitions and act upon the obligations. Stay away from anything that is sin and evil and increase from obedience and righteous actions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-A'la verses 14 and 15, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. Indeed, whosoever purifies himself by avoiding polytheism and accepting Islamic monotheism shall achieve success. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ. And remember, meaning he glorifies the name of his Lord by worshipping none but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and praise the 5 compulsory, and then increase from nawafil, from the optional prayers as well. That's the person who is successful. If he worship Allah alone, fulfilling the tawheed, and then do the actions of worship. The most important is the safeguarding and protecting the 5 obligatory prayers. فالذكر تزكية للنفس وكذلك الصلاة. The Shaykh says, so remembrance of Allah also is a purification to the soul. Remembering Allah all time. And also praying. The prayer is a purification for the soul. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah 45, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ. Verily the prayer prevents from al-fahsha. What is fahsha? Great sins of every kind. Likewise, unlawful sexual intercourse. Also the salat prevents from al-munkar. What is munkar? Disbelief, polytheism, and every kind of evil, wicked deeds. That's munkar. So the salat keep you away from sins. Remember, if you want to purify yourself, you got to stay away from sins. And why the salat helps in this regard? Because it keeps a person away from sins, from fahsha and munkar. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 45, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ. And seek help in patience and as-salat, the prayer. And truly the salat is extremely heavy and hard, except for al-khashi'een. جعلني الله وإياكم منهم. May Allah make us all from them. Ameen. Who are al-khashi'een? The true believers in Allah, who obey Allah with full submission, fear much His punishment, and believe in His promise, paradise, and in His warnings, meaning hell, the hellfire. Likewise, siyam, tazkiyah lin-nafs. Fasting is purification for the soul. Don't you see that when you fast, alhamdulillah, Monday, that day is nice, subhanAllah, you feel good, you feel better, you want to read Quran, you want to, you're something in you telling you got to go early to the masjid, you're fasting today, mashallah. But when you're not fasting, it's like it's another day. You're another person when you're not fasting. But as soon as you fast Monday or Thursday or one day for the sake of Allah, then subhanAllah, something in you telling you, read more Quran, akhi. Don't look over there. Don't go over there. Go early to the masjid. You're fasting today. Allahu Akbar. Why? Because fasting is a means that help us purify our souls as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed it for us. He said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم الحكمة إيش لعلكم تتقون. O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed upon you as it was prescribed upon those who came before you, that you may learn taqwa. And that's purification of the soul. The soul that is purified is a soul that have taqwa, and fasting help and to achieve that. Al-Hajj tazkiyah lil-nafs, likewise Hajj. Why? Because you do things in accordance with the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and that's purification of your soul. وعموم الطاعات التي أمر الله سبحانه وتعالى عباده بها ودعاهم إليها كلها تزكي النفس وتسمو بها وترفعها وتنهض بها إلى عالي الرتب. And likewise, everything that Allah has commanded us to do, everything that Allah has commanded His servants, all of these things, if we act upon them, they purify our souls and raise the level of our souls and our ranks with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Mujadilah, Ayah 11, يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات. Allah raises levels, those who believe amongst you and those who were granted knowledge. Allah raised them many levels. So the Shaykh says the actions of obedience, when a person acts upon them, they raise him in ranks with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they purify his soul. Likewise, the same thing is said, the opposite is true. The ma'asi, sins and disobedience to Allah sink a person wal-'iyadu billah in a deep hole, sink him in that things, and tarnish his soul, blemish it, wal-'iyadu billah. And the soul are two, the nafs is two types, nafsun fadila wa nafsun dani'a. Shaykh says, and keep in mind that the nafs is of two types. There is that nafs that is pure, noble, righteous, upright, and there is that nafs that is wicked and evil, wal-'iyadu billah. What is that soul that is noble, honest, righteous? It is the soul that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and tawfiq is from Allah, it's not because of the people. Allah allowed that person to purify his soul. Why? By actions of obedience and by righteous actions. And of course tawfiq is from Allah. Those who are righteous and upright and honest and straight upon the path, that's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You thank Allah for that ni'mah. The Sahaba, as the Shaykh mentioned, a line of poetry, they used to say, by Allah, has it not for being for Allah, meaning tawfiq from Allah, we will never be guided. We won't be guided. If you're guided and you're doing the right thing, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As for the wicked and the evil soul, he become wicked because the person, that person has synced his soul in evil, in sins. That's why he became evil. And so therefore, once again, if a person wants to purify himself, meaning if his nafs to be noble, to be righteous, upright, then he has to do these two things. Keep his nafs and himself from all evil and wicked deeds and statements and places, and stay away from wicked and evil people as well, and adorn himself with that which is pleasing to Allah, actions of obedience. Say that which is good, look at that which is pleasing to Allah, being in the places that are pleasing to Allah, being amongst the people who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. الأمر السادس في هذا الباب. Now the sixth principle إن شاء الله تعالى, أهمية إغلاق المنافذ التي تخرج بالإنسان عن التزكية وتبعده عن الفضيلة وتوقعه في الرذيلة. Here he says, in this principle, that if a person really is concerned with his soul and he wants his soul to be purified, whether it be a man or a woman, this is for both, that person have to close any door that may lead to corruption. Any door, anything that may keep you away from doing good things and virtuous actions of ibadah and righteous actions, and lead you to evil, to sin, to disobedience to Allah, you gotta cut that path. Okay? You're not crossing that bridge, because you know what that bridge is going to take you to. Now you're not crossing that bridge, man. You're going to make your turn from that path. You're going to close that door. You're not going to touch it and open it, because you're going to remove you from obedience to disobedience, from things that is pleasing to Allah to things that bring upon you the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Shaykh says, and this came in a hadith. Came in a hadith that is collected by Imam al-Tirmidhi or Imam al-Nasai, and Imam al-Tirmidhi said this hadith Hasan Gharib. I'm going to read to you the hadith in Arabic first, and then we'll read to you the translation, inshallah. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said, ضرب الله مثلا صراطا مستقيما. Pay attention to this hadith. It contains a lot of benefits. ضرب الله مثلا صراطا مستقيما على كتفي الصراط السوران فيهما أبواب مفتحة وعلى الأبواب سطور مرخاة وعلى الصراط داع يقول يا أيها الناس اسلكوا الصراط جميعا ولا تعوجوا وداع يدعو على الصراط فإذا أراد أحدكم فتح شيء من تلك الأبواب قال ويلك لا تفتحه فإنك إن تفتحه تلجه فالصراط الإسلام والستور حدود الله والأبواب المفتحة محارم الله والداعي الذي على رأس الصراط كتاب الله والداعي من فوق واعظ الله يذكر في قلب كل مسلم. Now, in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah has given a parable, an example of the straight path. This hadith gives us an example and a parable of the straight path, the Sirat al-Mustaqim. And on the two sides of this path, there are two walls. I want you to really pay attention to these details now in this narration. Okay? He says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a parable, an example of the straight path, so that it can become clear to us. What is it? Because we are commanded to be on a path that is straight. We ask Allah in Surah Al-Fatiha at least 17 times every day, that only in the obligatory. But if you pray the Sunnah, that's more than that. You ask Allah, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Oh Allah, keep us, guide us to stay on the path that is straight. He said Allah has given a parable of the straight path. And on the two sides of this path, there are two walls containing doorways. You know doorways, right? Like this one, that's a doorway. A doorway is like a door with no, you can't shut it, and you can't lock it. That's a doorway, right? On these doorways, there are curtains that are hanging down. Curtains. We don't have a door that is locked or shut, but we have doorways. But on these doorways, there are curtains that are hanging down. What this tells us? What is easy to get through, a curtain or a door that is shut? Huh? Through the curtain. The curtain is nothing. You just move it with one little pinky. You know. So that's what it is. So on these two doorways, there are curtains that are hanging down. On the gate of this path, there is a caller calling, "O people, stay firm on this straight path, all together, and do not stray." Later on, the Prophet ﷺ explained that this caller who say this is the Book of Allah. The Book of Allah telling us how many ayahs telling us to stay on the path and don't stray away from it. O people, stay firm on this straight path, all together, and do not stray. There is also another caller that calls from above that path, who says, when a person wants to open the curtain on any of these doorways, woe to you. Do not open this curtain, for if you open it, you will enter it. You will enter through those doorways. The Prophet ﷺ says the path that is straight is Islam. The straight path is Islam. The two walls are Allah's set limits. There's the two walls. Allah's set limits. The doorways lead to Allah's prohibitions. They're curtains, and they lead to Allah's prohibitions. The collar on the gate of the path is Allah's book, the Quran. The collar that says, stay firm on the path and don't stray. While the collar from above the path is Allah's admonition in the heart of every Muslim. Sometimes, man, you want to do something, but something in you tell you, man, that's not you, right or wrong. You don't have to wait somebody to come to you in your face and tell you. طيب. No. إن شاء الله. Later on. طيب عندي هنا إن شاء الله. The Shaykh Hafidahullah Ta'ala, he says, so therefore here, he says, from this narration, it is important for somebody who wants to purify himself to shut down any door or any gate that may lead to corruption. Those doorways and curtains, that if a person remove them or try to see what's behind there, he's going to remove that person. He removes himself from the path of purification to the path of evil and wickedness. That's why, look, from the Sunnah, if you go and knock at a door, like you go to some brother's house, what is the proper way to stand in front of the door? Somebody know? No. Huh? Not the back. You just face like this way or this way. If the door like this, you face this way or this way. Nah, but you don't be right there. Some people, they is like right there on the door. If anything, but maybe a little kid open the door. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some women in there, she's not dressed properly and she didn't know who is knocking. She's just coming down the stairs. And some people, they're like this. Or as soon as the door open, they get in. No, you can't do that. So if the door is like this, you're standing like this. And you're talking like this. Is your father here? But the door is over here, but you're not looking. Or you look down, alhamdulillah, you know, at your feet. Alright? And also the isti'dan, when you knock, you ask permission for 3 times. If no answer, what you do? You leave. What some people do? They go sit right there by the sidewalk and look at the blinds. Like, he's there. Yeah, look. Those blinds, when we pulled in, they were open, akhi. Even if the brother is there, so he don't want to talk to you. Right or wrong? He don't want to talk to me. Maybe the brother have an issue. Maybe he's busy with doing something. Maybe he has a class with his children. Maybe his mother in there and he give her medication or talking to her. Well, he gonna stop that and come and talk to me? Look, I do what I gotta do. What the Sunnah tell me to do. What the Sunnah tell me to do? Knock 3 times. What the Prophet ﷺ said. The Prophet ﷺ said, say, look, if his car is over there, his camel over there, he got to be there. Don't let him fool you. If they don't answer the door, stay there until they come out. The Prophet ﷺ didn't say that. He says, listen, if permission is given to you, mashallah, if not, leave. If somebody sticks right there and wait, oh, you want to play games with me, man, I'm going to show him who he is, man. He think he's smart. No, you're not smart because you're going against the sunnah. I said, you knock 3 times, permission given you, alhamdulillah. Not given, leave. Even if the boy come out or little boy come out and says, oh, you want to talk to my father? Yeah. He says he's busy right now. He'll see you at the masjid. What attitude you should have at that moment? Said to him, tell your boy, tell that little boy, tell your father, Jazakallah khairan for the masjid. Jazakallah khairan, yes, I see him in the masjid, inshallah. Some people, they want to argue. Tell your father to come here right now, man. No, why? So it's very important for us to have this manners. These are the things that purify our souls. A purified soul doesn't get in trouble. Doesn't go against the sunnah, because you remember, one of the things that shows that a person's soul is purified, that person accepting the sunnah and practicing the sunnah. If somebody tells us to fear Allah, sometimes we'll be mad. And somebody come and say, Akhi, say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. No, we don't. That's the sunnah. If somebody is mad, he should say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. But now here is somebody very mad, one of us mad. Another brother, alhamdulillah, wants good for me or for you. And he says, Akhi, say A'udhu Billahi. You say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, Akhi. Don't talk to me, alright? Say A'udhu Billah. Now we reject the sunnah and we want to purify ourselves. No. The sunnah, alhamdulillah, help us to do that which is good and to do that which is righteous. The Shaykh says, no, opening the doors, cutting the links, any thread that may connect you to something evil, you gotta cut it loose. The Shaykh said, how many are those paths and threads and connections that link us to evil nowadays? Huh? How many? Many of them. Many of them. And how many curtains in our lives that we were so nosy, nosy to look on what's going on, and then you get hit in the nose by something. Now you get hit in the eye, you get hit in the heart. That's what happened. If you get hit in the nose, that's easy. You bleed today, tomorrow you're straight. But stuff penetrates in the heart and stays there. Now how are you going to get out? So that's why when you look at the hadith of the sunnah and how even the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you sit, if you go to another house that is not yours, if you don't just sit anywhere, you're going to wait until the person of the house tell you where to sit. You know that, right? Why? Because he knows his house. Now somebody just want to sit right here so he has the view of the whole house. No. The brother tell you sit in there, don't get mad, because he knows what's going on in his house. You sit in that spot, and when you sit, you lower your gaze, because when you are in your house, you don't just be looking all over, or you be standing and trying. Even if you want to use a bathroom, even if you want to do anything, you want to ask permission, because you don't want to cross the limits. You want to cross a curtain. You don't want to find yourself the other side of the doorway. All right? طيب. And this is not when we talk about this thing, the Shaykh says, we're not just talking about wicked people, bad people. No, this happens for the righteous. Good people, man, if they are not paying attention, it's slippery, man. You gotta, before you put your foot, you gotta see where you put your foot at. The Shaykh says, don't you think this is just because for wicked, evil people? No, this is for those who are righteous, alhamdulillah, doing good. But if they are not paying attention, it's only a curtain, akhi. It's not like a steel door. They have 4 bolts on it, and you don't have the keys. Now this is a curtain, man. Sometimes that curtain may be moved by the wind, and if you're looking at it, you're gonna look at something that is not for you to look at. And if a person is not paying attention, so he's removing himself from guidance to misguidance. Now he's trying to purify himself, and by him not knowing this principle and applying it, he thinks he's purifying himself, but hey, boom, he's causing damage for himself. That's why you say for those girls, for example, that we're not supposed to talk to women. That is not our mahram. And even if there is necessity that that woman, maybe you're doing a business, you go shopping, you don't be looking at her and how you doing, you look good. No, none of that stuff. See, some of us, subhanAllah, we make it permissible for us to do certain things, but if our wives do that thing, she's divorced 3 times on Kroger, right there on CVS parking lot. She has to find her all right. You know what I'm saying? You looked at him. But him, when he's talking to that cashier lady, how you doing? How you look good in that? Do you look good? Conducting yourself in that manner? May Allah have mercy on us. Ameen. The Shaykh says, look, man, anybody on his right mind, if he doesn't want, if he want to keep his house clean from rodents, from dogs, stray dogs, from insects, what that person should do? Keep the door shut. And what else? Just the door? Okay, he shut the door, but the windows are wide open. Right or wrong? Shut the windows. Cracks, any holes, gotta make sure, because those cracks bring rodents. Right or wrong? Because you know how difficult if you got mice and stuff in your house, how are you gonna get them out now? Sometimes you have to move out and leave the apartment for them. You know? The Shaykh Ta'ala said also, if there is a bad smell, you drive in, for example, your car, and you pass by an area and you have the windows down, and you pass by, I don't know, a raccoon or some bad smell, what's the first thing come to your mind? Huh? Close the windows. They gotta go up. Likewise, you go by an area that stinks, huh? You gotta close the doors, man. You know? Because those things that are haram, they poison, man. If you get to your heart, you know what poison do to you? Kills you. Likewise, sins. Sins, they kill the nobility of the soul. You want your soul to be noble and to continue to increase in nobility, huh? But you bring in poison to it, stuff that will destroy it. It's like someone who has a little plant, huh? Has a plant, alhamdulillah, in the backyard, apple tree, and he's like, man, inshallah, in a couple of years we're not gonna buy apples anymore. But that person, if he's not taking care of that tree, right, watering it, making sure that he get all the stuff away from it, what is the shrubs and these things, what do they call them? The grass and whatever, the weeds. Why? Because those they take away from the water, take away from the nutrition, right or wrong? And he's taking care of it. You're gonna grow, alhamdulillah, nice. But if he's neglecting that tree, or instead of water he's putting gasoline on it, trash, la, Allah al-Musta'an. So the Shaykh says a person keep himself from anything that may harm his body. Alright? A person do not mess with poison. He knows what it does for his body. A person does not drink gasoline. He knows it's harmful. A person does not sit on a hot stove. Right or wrong? Because it's harmful. But a person does not sit on something, object that is sharp, because he knows that may penetrate to his skin. But still, in the same time, the person is protecting himself from these harmful things. But there are things that harm the heart, that harm the soul too. A person should stay away from such things as well. The Shaykh says, there are many things in your life that have value. But nothing is more valuable than your soul, and the condition of your soul and the condition of your heart. Because you may lose money. Money is valuable. Your car is valuable to you. Your house. You may lose it and Allah give you something else. Or if you may be broke all your life, you may end up in Jannah, inshallah, if you have a pure soul. But if a person have a corrupt soul, evil, wicked soul, all his life, doesn't matter how rich he may be and how much property he has, so where he going to end up? Wal-iyadu billah. So we have to take good care of that. The Shaykh says there are many things that if you lose them, you may make them up. Or if you don't make them up this day, mashallah, Allah will give you better in Yawm al-Qiyamah. But if a person neglects his own soul, then there is no other chance. If a person die upon corruption, upon evil, upon shirk, upon hypocrisy, upon nifaq, upon sins, upon disobedience, does that person have another chance to rectify after death? No. Death is one way. So the Shaykh says everything that you lose, you may make it up, except the deen. If you lose your religion, that's a calamity. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, he used to make this dua, ya akhwan, that we have to memorize. He used to say, وَلَا تَجْعَلْ مُصِيبَتَنَا فِي دِينِنَا وَلَا تَجْعَلِ الدُّنْيَا أَكْبَرَ هَمِّنَا وَلَا مَبْلَغَ عِلْمِنَا. O Allah, let us not suffer a calamity concerning our religion, and make us not take this world as our greatest concern or a goal for our knowledge. This is dua from the Prophet ﷺ. وَلَا تَجْعَلْ مُصِيبَتَنَا فِي دِينِنَا وَلَا تَجْعَلِ الدُّنْيَا أَكْبَرَ هَمِّنَا وَلَا مَبْلَغَ عِلْمِنَا. O Allah, let us not suffer a calamity concerning our religion, and make us not take this world as our greatest concern or a goal for our knowledge. The Shaykh Ta'ala, he says, certain people, man, he says they playing games as related to their religion, and they're not paying attention to the danger they put themselves in by not paying attention to those doorways and those curtains. Those curtains are there for a reason, man. If you're invited to somebody's house and he has a curtain, because sometimes we do that, there is a doorway, right or wrong, that lead to the kitchen, but a brother's going to bring his friends, but he put a sheet in there. Well, there is a reason why that brother put it over there, so that me and you, we cannot look what's going on, what's happening behind. Some of us, that's all. I hope none of us will have this concern. He's sitting over there, like, what's behind that? He's hoping that some storm come or tornado to remove that curtain, only because that evil soul, he wants to know what's behind the curtain. None of your business. None of your business, brother. But that's the purity of the soul. The purity. That's why you find if you go to some majma', some gathering, you find those brothers who really wants, alhamdulillah, to purify themselves. They don't want to see anything. They race to sit in some corner. But anybody who wants to nosy, wants to know what's going on, is like Inspector Gadget, and he's like, he want to sit right by the door, and he's like this. Sit down, you humble yourself like this. Have a book, read it. If it's tell you to eat, eat. If it tell you to leave, leave. So the Shaykh said we should not cross those limits. Because if you do that, that stuff is going to penetrate in your heart, in your soul, and it will destroy you, wal-iyadu billah. He said that's why some people, subhanAllah, he says, they're not paying attention to this principle, and they complain. They says, man, I got problems in my life. I got issues. I got a lot of hardship. Man, I'm not straight. My life is not stable. He got issues in his life because of these problems. Because those stuff that pile up on him. The things he does and he sees and look at and the like. And because he was the one that opened the door for all that things. And we have to protect ourselves and protect our children as well and our families. By helping them, making things easy for them. The household has to be, the house and the home has to be a Muslim home. And we should clean our homes from evil, from music, from movies, DVDs, from mixing, from haram, from TV. No, we have to do some cleaning, man. How you want your children to memorize Quran, but you have a TV in the house, in their bedroom? How are they going to memorize Quran? How are they going to memorize Quran and they play, I don't know, those games, you know, the games, the station, whatever they call them, all day? How are they going to learn to lower their gaze, but there is mixing between men and women in their homes all the time? It's worse. Some people, they even subhanAllah, they say, oh, music is haram, but they bring anashid Islamiyya. You heard the anashid Islamiyya, right? So-called Islamic songs. Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan said there is no such thing Islamic songs, man. These are bid'ah and innovations. And they took people away from the Quran. Even if they chant about Allah and chant about Quran, they are not from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ didn't used to do this anashid or his companions. So Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan, he says, these anashid, they call them anashid Islamiyya, they have nothing to do with Islam. It is from the innovations of the Sufis, wal-iyadu billah. They innovated them to turn the people away from Quran. And if somebody in the right mind, even if somebody is not convinced, let's say somebody is not convinced that these anashid are haram, and he said, no, akhi, anashid are good, man. They know music, man. They just talk about Islam. Let's say this person is not convinced that they are haram. Tell him, okay. Well, we have a hadith that says, the Prophet said, whoever read the Quran, he get at least 10 good deeds for each letter, not a word or ayah. So do you have a hadith that when you recite a nasheed you get something? No, you don't get anything. Sheikh Ali Tuwaijri, he gave us a talk when I was in the Bronx, maybe 2 months ago or 3 months ago. He gave us a talk on the importance of the Book of Allah, taking care of the Book of Allah and the like. It was a beautiful talk. And he mentioned that Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, he says that in Surah Al-Baqarah there is some 250,000 letters. No, 25,000 letters. 25,000 letters. If a person recites Al-Baqarah once, at least the reward that he will get, the least, how much? Huh? 250,000. 250,000, akhi. He will get 250,000 of good deeds. 250,000, that's 250,000, right or wrong? Huh? He will get a 250,000 at least, but Allah gave multiply by 700 to whom and more. If somebody or there is that rich brother in the community, and he says, listen, Ikhwan, I know you're struggling, man, but listen, I can't just give you money, but if you read Surah Al-Baqarah, I give you 250,000. What do you think people? What do you think people be doing, akhi? Huh? I think somebody is making dua right now. May Allah bring somebody like that, right? What you think we will be doing if there is that brother, a human being, huh? And he says, listen, brothers, I got a lot of money, man. I don't know what to do with it, but I want to help you out. But you got to earn it. How, brother, we're going to earn it? We're going to work for you, construction? No way, no construction, nothing, man, in your house. We're going to answer the phone for you? No phone. What are we going to do, brother? What do you want us to do? Just read the Quran. I give you $10 for every letter. Man, you be doing the math. Right or wrong? If Baqarah, Surah Al-Baqarah, huh? Surah Al-Baqarah, you get $250,000 to read it once. If you see a nice house for $1 million, how much? How can you get the house? How? Read it 4 times. How long it take you to recite Al-Baqarah 4 times? One morning. After Fajr, you finished before Dhuhr, you have a house that have $1 million. In 3 months, man, all Durham is yours. 3 months. Right or wrong? But now, what is more important now? Money or good deeds? See how we go wrong, man? See how we go wrong? That's why we need the purification of the soul. Because the soul that is purified looked at the deeds, doesn't look at the money. That's why you were like, Sahaba. The dunya came to them and they let it go. They ran away from it. Our conditions, except from those Allah has mercy, dunya running away from us, we're running after it. Urwa ibn Zubayr radiallahu anhu, he's saying something about his aunt Aisha radiallahu anha, because that's his aunt, because Urwa, the son of Zubayr, his mother is Asma bint Abi Bakr. Aisha radiallahu anha is his aunt. He says, I saw her giving in charity like 100,000 dinar or something, a lot of money. And then she's still putting patches on her clothing. Subhanallah. The purification of the soul, ya akhwan, is very important. And even those people that have money, alhamdulillah, money, that's not a problem. Islam didn't make it prohibited for us to get money, but just you gotta be careful now. You have to be careful. It should not be the goal. It should be a means to achieve things. But the goal is the Jannah, ya akhwan, not this dunya. So likewise, they said you gotta protect our homes, our families, our children. We should allow our children, mashallah, to have a good education, that we should be the example for them. Otherwise, are we going to blame them later on when they start acting up, when they become a teenager and become to act up? Are we going to blame them? We don't care what they do in their rooms, we don't care what they read, we don't care who they go with, and then we put them in a public school, and then we become teenagers and they start acting up. Oh, you're a bad person? No, the Shaykh said it's like this poem or this line of poetry that says, ألقاه في اليم مكتوفا وقال له إياك أن تتسلى بالماء. Person put his teenagers in a public school and stuff, and the home is not right, and then he expects from that child or that teenager, boy or girl, to be upright and straight. It's like the one who throws somebody in the river from a bridge after tying his hands and feet and told him, do not get wet. Right or wrong? You got somebody off the bridge, you tied them down. Even you tie them down, is it going to change something? But even shows that more the gravity of the matter. They tie their hands and down, and then they throw them off a bridge, and while they throw them, they say, do not get wet. Okay, you explain this to me. Likewise, Some families, they neglect the education of their children. They neglect their aqidah, the purification of their soul. Let them hang with whatever. Street. Go to your room and they have a TV in their room and DVD and who knows, and computer. Kids have, they give iPhones. A teenager, 12, 13, 14 have an iPhone. They have internet. What that boy gonna be? Kids have Facebook. Right or wrong? Teenagers, 12, 13, they have their own Facebooks, their Twitter. Facebook, you know what that means? They be talking to others, right? And who they be talking to? La ilaha illallah. And then when those kids start acting up, then all of a sudden those parents, they want to like, oh man, he's a bad boy. No, he's not a bad boy. Never been a bad boy. You made him like that. You made him like that. Those boys, they like a dough. You have a dough, you know the dough. As long as it's still fresh, you can make whatever you want. Let it sit and get dry and hard. Now what's going to happen? That's it. So it's very important for us, ikhwan, to keep that in mind. We're going to like summarize because we don't have a lot of time. The seventh bab في تزكية تذكر الموت. لا إله إلا الله. Likewise, remembering death help you to purify your soul, and remembering that you will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and that you will leave this dunya, this will help you. And the Shaykh, he mentioned many ayats. From them is the ayah 18 in Surah Al-Hashr, and also in Surah Al-Tahrim ayah 6, and also Surah Al-Baqarah 281. We don't have a lot of time, ikhwan. I'll leave it for you to check those ayats, inshallah, in the Quran. Do some homework. This is homework, by the way. Alright, assignment. Who is this brother who talk? He's in Raleigh or in Durham? Huh? Where you are, brother? Raleigh or Durham? Ah, you're over there? Ah, you're in Durham. Okay, jazakallah khair. Ayah 18 of Surah Al-Hashr and Ayah 6 of Surah Al-Tahrim, and the Ayah 281 of Surah Al-Baqarah. I want you to read these ayahs, inshallah, as you go home. Okay? I'm trying to save some time because this is my last lecture here and I want to finish these principles with you, inshallah. So the Shaykh says a person will continue upon good as long as he remembers death, and that whatever he does, inshallah ta'ala, if he does good, he thank Allah and praise Allah and ask Allah for firmness. If he does evil, let him repent and ask Allah for forgiveness. Also Surah Al-A'raf, ayah number 9, Al-A'raf, that's chapter 7. And also Surah Al-Mu'minun, that's chapter 23, verse 102. Al-Mu'minun 102. And Al-Zilzala, you can read all of it, Surah Al-Zilzala. Or the Shaykh, he mentioned 7 and 8. So the seventh principle here that helps in the purification of the soul is تذكر الموت, to remember death. Al-Amr al-Thamin, the eighth one, تخير الجلساء الصالحون. الله أكبر. That you have to be careful who you're choosing as companions, as friends. Who are the people you spend time with? Who are the people you talk to and you listen to? Who are those people you spend a lot of time with? Because the Prophet ﷺ, he says, المرء على دين خليله فلينظر أحدكم من يخالل. A person is on the religion of his closest friends. So let every one of you be careful who he is taking as friends. Because a good friend, he gonna remind you. Because that's his habit. Adhan of Salat is at 12:30. He's a habit that he always there at 40 minutes. If you're with him, yeah, he's talking to you, he's drinking with you that coffee, that tea. But as soon as 40 minutes before the Adhan, he's gone. And you're like, Akhi, come on, where you going? Masjid. He's like, Akhi, we still have like an hour for the Adhan. He says, for you, not for me. You have 1 hour, I don't have 1 hour. That's a good friend. Not like you be hanging with somebody, you want to go 10 minutes before the adhan, and they're like, Akhi, what's the rush? The salat. Sorry, salat don't come until 10, Akhi. Come on, man. Chillax. Huh? You know, chillax, man. You know what I mean, chillax? That's the combination between chilling and relaxing. Chillaxing, you know, it's like combination. I don't know if it's true or not. It's between chilling and relaxing. So hey, he tell you chillax, akhi. Come on, man. You want to be with a person like that? You want to do good, but he's tying you down? No, you don't want to be that. You want to be with a person that if you slack in, if you kind of like feel like want to like sit down, he's like, akhi, what you doing, man? Get up, man. Let's go. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm going to go to the masjid, brother. What you doing? See? Hey. And the Prophet ﷺ, he gave an example. A good companion and an evil companion. The good companion is like someone who has a business. He's in a business of good smell, you know, perfumes and this. If you're around that person, whether you buy, if you buy, you're just going to buy something good. If you don't buy anything, he may give you a gift. And he give you a gift, he always going to be something good. Or smells good. If none of this happens, man, you're going to like, when you leave, you're going to smell good because you were around him. But the evil companion is like the one you're hanging around the blacksmith. That's what they call him, blacksmith. The one who work with fire and rubber and all that stuff. Huh? Abdul Rashid, you said something. Iron, ahsant, nah, and rubber and all that. Now, hanging with a person like that and none of your business, he's not his partner or nothing. What benefit in there? You may burn your clothing, right? But if that have not happened, what happened? Bad smell. Huh? People, they know where you came from. But alhamdulillah, Allah didn't put smells, bad smells for sins. Can you imagine if sins smell? Any one of us will sit next to the other? May Allah have mercy on us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Surah Al-Kahf, ayah 28, وَاصْبِرْ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ. Keep yourself in the company of those who remember their Lord. And finish the ayah, barakallahu. I want you to finish the ayah, okay? Likewise, we will never find people that are serious about their deen. They're your friends. Not somebody who has a car, bigger car, a truck, or just in case if I need him, I'm going to stay close to him. I'm going to take him as a friend, just in case he has a job. He may be hiring. That's my man. No, he's not your man. This is not the brotherhood. Your man is the one who is upon the deen of the man that Allah command us to follow his example, the Prophet ﷺ. That's your man. If anybody is on the sunnah, that's your man. Even if he's broke, has nothing, and you think he has nothing. He has the deen, man. He has something that you can put no price on. Adherence to the sunnah, purification of the soul. These things are priceless, man. You can't buy them. Bill Gates cannot buy anything, man, with his money unless if he make a tawbah. And may Allah guide him to Islam. Ameen. And Oprah and Montel and Maury Povich and all of them. And Leno and Letterman and all of them. May Allah guide them to Islam. I mean, we want good for them. And Obama and Clinton and who else? Huh? Who? Raman? Ramanudu? Who's this? Romney. Whatever he is, I don't know. Who's this Romney? The mayor in here or something? He's not president yet? Oh, we make dua for the president, man. Okay. May Allah guide that Romney too. Ameen, akhi. We want guidance for them. May Allah guide them to Islam. Ameen. Alright? These are the people you want to be with, ya akhwan. The people that purify themselves. Doesn't matter if from your country, from another country. You grow up with him or you never see him in your life. That's your man. Because he is purified. MashaAllah. He loves Allah. He loves the Messenger of Allah. He loves his deen. When he's wrong and you talk to him about the haqq, he kisses your head until you Jazakallahu khairan, akhi, barakallahu feek, for correcting my mistake. He don't argue with you. He don't try to be slick and smart. Oh, you know, it's not like that, man. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Nah. You can't be slick when it comes to this deen, man. Take it. This deen is not yours, man. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Accept it and humble yourself, and Allah will raise your levels. The last bab, ya akhwan, التاسع. And this is very important, that the person should be aware of ujub. What is ujub? Thinking that he's alright. Certain people, shaitan come to them from this door and say, hey, you're alright, man, that's it, you got it. You're straight, you're righteous now, that's it. That's it, man, you're okay. You're okay. You're still in this dunya and you think you're okay? No, you're not okay until you die upon Tawheed. That's when you're okay. As long as you're in this dunya, don't be secure. Don't feel secure, ya akhwan. The Prophet ﷺ, he says that the hearts of the servants are between the fingers of Ar-Rahman. He turns them as he will. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, he used to increase from that dua. And that's a homework to find the dua. Okay, inshallah? Jazakumullah khairan. So you don't purify yourself. Don't say, I know, I'm okay, I'm straight, I'm righteous, I'm this, I'm upright, akhi, I'm stable, I am this. No, don't say that stuff. Continue to do what is right, but don't you ever think like you're it, you're done, you're finished, the job is finished. It never finished until you're finished. That job never is finished until your life here is finished. That's it, man. Don't you think like, man, I'm straight, and be looking at other people, man, look, yeah, they still doing it like it was 10 years ago. Man, you're still alive, brother. At least those brothers are climbing the ladder. You think you got it? At least those brothers, they working, they know what they're doing wrong. Certain people, they get in that level, they think that's it, they don't have nothing wrong. They finish everything now. That's ujub. That's a disease, a fatal disease. That a person think himself that he don't make mistakes. I say, I don't make mistakes, I'm straight, man. Nah. And then they won't accept the nasiha when they work. They don't, because he thinks like, man, me, I made a mistake. Come on, you made a mistake, brother. Nah, I just saw you. You saw me? You wearing lenses or what, man? Go check your eyes, brother, because me, I don't make no mistakes. See, that's the shaitan. Get him in that corner, man. And you gotta be afraid for yourself. And continue, inshallah ta'ala, to purify yourself. The Shaykh, he says, briefly he mentioned these principles, and he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make them as benefits for all of us. May Allah benefit us with that which we heard, and may Allah make it a proof for us, not against us. And he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us all tawfiq to do that which is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah give us tawfiq to do that which is good, and may Allah guide us to always stay on the path that is straight. And then the Shaykh, he says, oh Allah, grant our souls its taqwa and purify it. You are the best of those who purify those souls. And he says, Anta waliyuha wa mawlaha, that dua that we mentioned. Then he says, oh Allah, rectify our religion and our livelihood, and rectify our affairs in the hereafter. And as long as you keep us alive, allow us to increase in good deeds, and make the death as a rest for us from all evil. O Allah, help us and don't help the enemies against us. O Allah, grant us victory and don't grant the victory of the enemies, like the shayateen, over us. Oh Allah, guide us and make things easy for us, and make the path of guidance easy for us, so that we can be upon it. Oh Allah, make us from those who constantly give thanks to your favors. Oh Allah, make us from al-dhakirin, those who remember you and mention you much. Oh Allah, make us from those who repent to you with repentance and sincere repentance. Oh Allah, make us obedient to you, oh Allah. Oh Allah, accept our repentance. Oh Allah, cleanse us and purify our souls. Oh Allah, guide our hearts and our tongues. Oh Allah, forgive us. Forgive our parents, those who died as Muslims. Forgive our mashayikh and scholars and a Muslim male and female, they believe in male and a female, those who are alive and those who died amongst them. إنك غفور رحيم جواد كريم. والله تعالى أعلم، وصلى الله وسلم على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. And we thank the Shaykh Hafidahullah Ta'ala for these beautiful advices. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to safeguard this effort for him in the scales of his good deeds, sincerely for him on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Likewise, we thank you, brothers and sisters, for your attendance. We thank our brother, the Imam here at the Masjid, the Tawheed wa Sunnah, the Idara, the administration, and the rest of the community for their hospitality and the like. Jazakumullah khairan, barakallahu feekum, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're going to do questions? Maybe 10 minutes? Yeah, sure. If you have any questions, inshallah, you want me something to repeat, لا بأس, inshallah, I don't mind. If you have any questions, I'm willing to listen to them. You want to call the adhan first? Naam, after the adhan. So
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
We have a question here. What advice do you give a 20-year-old Muslim girl who has expressed her desire to get married, but her father rejects the meeting a brother she wants to sit down with, and he does not start looking, meaning the father does not start looking for her a husband? It has been 3 months and the father has done nothing to find her a husband. What should the girl do? She has a brother, meaning her brother, who is 33 years old and Muslim. Should he take the father's role if he is failing to perform his duty? if the brother takes the role of the father, how is this justified based on Quran and Sunnah? It's a very important question. Alhamdulillah, this young girl, she has the right to have concerns. But we advise this sister first, and may Allah keep her and us firm upon the deen of Allah. Ameen. And we tell her, mashallah, that these matters of marriage and stuff is very serious matter. So she has to be patient. And me, I cannot just give her advice based on what she says, because however, if she live around this area, I advise them to talk to the Imam, inshallah. And then the Imam will talk to her father, inshallah. Maybe the father have a reason, maybe he does not, but that's something that whoever is gonna deal with them. That's why I said if they are in this area, they come to the brother Rashid Barbi, hafidahullah. But Rashid Barbi, ta'ala, of course he's gonna talk to the father and try to find out what's going on. If she's right, then he will advise the father. He said, akhi, mashallah, ya akhi, why you're like not looking? If the father says, yeah, she's right, akhi, I reject the brother, why? The father, he may have a valid reason, and that sister, she has to accept it, because he's responsible in front of Allah. He has to choose for her what is good. Okay, akhi. Anyway, so if the father may have a good reason, and that sister, she has to accept it, because Allah has made it binding upon him to make choice for her, the right choice. Or the father, he may not have a good reason, or he may thought he has a valid reason, but the Imam, inshallah, will explain to him, no, akhi, it's not like that. That brother is a good brother. We know him, this and this. That's what it is. As for her pointing her brother instead of her father, this is something that should not be done. Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen, Shaykh ibn Baz, and the ulama, what they says if a woman, for example, think she's sure that her father is not helping her and he's neglecting her, and she talked to him and advised him according to the Quran and the Sunnah, but he's still negligent and she's suffering, now she can go to the judge, and the judge will take whatever necessary to bring the father and advise him, okay, listen, what you're doing is not right. After knowing, after verifying, that's the truth, and he will advise him, and then the judge, he will take the necessary, decision and steps. In the lands like this, we don't have Muslim judges. The ulama, they says you turn your affairs to the ulama, to the scholars. And that's through the Imam, because if you know Arabic, alhamdulillah, you understand the terminology of the deen. When the ulama said this is what you do, you understand, you go ahead, you do that on yourself. But if you are not in that level, you come to the Imam of the masjid. I'm talking about here, this Imam, because I'm here now. Alhamdulillah, and he will talk to that father, and if that father didn't want to accept the advice, if he's wrong, then they will call one of the ulama and see what the ulama have to say. Okay, that's what I present to you, inshallah ta'ala. And keep in mind, question like this, these are not questions, let me give you advice, these are not questions that you want to ask in general meeting like this. These are questions you want the solution for them. Nobody gonna give you an answer based on a question, little paperwork like this, paper like this, on a question on a paper. Because a lot of things here has to be justified. That father has to be talked to. Okay, is this true? Yes, it's true. I reject that brother. Why? He's a drug addict. Oh yeah? Yeah, I know him, man. He pray Fajr and all that stuff, and he has a beard and a cry and Maghrib and Taraweeh. But he's a drug addict, man. Alright, so I'm gonna marry. You will marry your daughter to somebody like that? Even though he pray Fajr? No, so okay, that's why. See, that's things. Or other things. Maybe that brother, he's not a drug addict. He don't drink, he don't smoke, he don't smell, he don't sniff anything. But he has a bad temper, bad attitude. Maybe he's on medication. Not everybody who's on medication, they're bad people. Maybe Maybe he has bad temper. He breaks stuff. He wanna fight. Somebody wanna marry his daughter to a person like that? No, let him work on his problems first. See, that's what I'm talking about. Maybe the father have a reason why he rejected that brother. But if he just has no valid reason, then that imam, inshallah, he will talk to that brother, that akhi, subhanallah, the brother, we good. Unless if the father say, akhi, you know him only in the masjid. I dealt with that guy. I know who he is. So if the father present a valid reason, because he's responsible in front of Allah, he has to protect his daughter. Now, we mentioned that. We mentioned that in a lecture. Yeah. Okay. We say it to you. The ruling we mentioned, alhamdulillah. Hey, and nas akharin, mashallah. And somebody asked me a question, so that's why before. Jazakallah khairan too. But somebody before asked me this question, and I mentioned it in the lecture. But maybe you went to take care of some business and came back, right? Huh? Oh yeah, mashallah. So okay, I gave you some. You gave me a little thing. I gave you a little thing, man. I'm gonna give you the tea of it too. لا, Sheikh Salih Al-Fawzan, حفظه تعالى, among many, Sheikh bin Baz, Uthaymin, all of them, Albani, they says there is no such thing Islamic nasheed. It's invented by the Sufis to turn the people away from the remembrance of Allah. So there is no such thing Islamic nasheed, okay? You leave it alone. Alhamdulillah, we elaborate on it in the talk. Wafikum barak. Sisters, what about them? Yeah, the sisters, if you have a questions, alhamdulillah, you can use the technology these days. If your husband is in here, text him the question. And then the brother, he will ask the question, but then, hey, you gotta prove that you're married. If somebody's single, he's like, oh, I got one from the other. Now you gotta prove it. Or how are you gonna prove it? What would you suggest? How they prove? Show the marriage license or something? Nah, it's okay. We trust each other, alhamdulillah. Yeah, that's good. If a brother in here and his family in there, she can text him the question. He can ask on her behalf. This reminds me of something. Sometimes somebody asks a question, and then some of us will look at the brother like, why you ask that question for? Akhwan, we shouldn't be like, whenever somebody asks a question, some people sometimes they ask question on behalf of others. You know what I'm saying? But then we'll be looking at them and I don't know him to be like that. Well, you're right. You don't know him to be like that. He's not like that. This brother, he's just asking a question. Maybe somebody texts him. He's at work. He says, ask the brother Akhi this question. Nah, yeah, you can ask a question. Let's need details too. What is the mistake of that doctor? He was in a purpose. It was because this. It is permissible if you have a right to do that. Yes, because we have principles in the qada. This is in a section of judging and stuff. There are people that are liable, and there are other people that are not liable. Even if they cause damage to your property, they are not liable. Okay? But certain people, they cause damage, they're liable, they have to pay for it. And that's for the judge. He will see the case and he is liable. For example, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, when he was always listening to him in the chapter when he was explaining these things, he gave examples. He gave examples. Let's say there is a person. This a person, he says, has in a farm, and has this has cows, right? And this brother, he put the cows in this place, right? What is it called? No, not the pasture. The place that he lock it in. Pen. Okay. He locked the door. Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. And he go to sleep. But then the neighbor next morning came, listen, man, you cows, man, they destroy my property. Why? Well, in the night time they got loose and they came here. Is he liable or not? He is? He's not? He is. Why he is? Huh? Wait, leave the brother talk. No, he's not answering the question, the brother. We're mudhakara. We're just talking, huh? So don't, even if he's wrong, the brother, even if he's certain and he's proven he's wrong later on, it's okay, because he's talking, we're talking. Are you just talking or you giving an answer? Let me ask you a question. Are you just talking to us, alhamdulillah, you want to understand the issue, you're giving an answer and you're sure that this is the right answer? Which one? Okay, stop right there, bro. Stop right there. I want good for you, stop right there. Nah. Stop right there. Stop right there. If you're with him, stop. Since he's stopping, you stop. And if you're with him in your same car, he stopped and you keep going. Hey, if he stopped, you stop. Right or wrong? You're in the same car, he's driving, he stopped at the red light, but you keep moving. So what that mean? Mean that you're not with him?
I mean, I agree with him, but I don't.
Okay. So you don't agree with him then if you're not sure. طيب. Here is the thing. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah, he says, if that person, he locked the door, alhamdulillah, he did what he's supposed to do. That's it. There was a storm that night. Storm. Strong wind came and destroyed the door. And then those cows got loose. He's not liable. He's not. Because he didn't do it on purpose. But if he's a person, he's negligent. He has the cows right there. The door is shaky. The neighbors, they tell him, listen man, fix that door, man. Because if something happened, those cows came to my property, man, I'm going to see you. Alright? He's like, come on, man, those cows, they nice, man, they hurt nobody. And he didn't want to fix the door gate. Alright? So that's negligence. You know what I'm talking about? That's only an example, but there is so many examples. There's so many examples. But that's an example. So that's for the judges, those people who have knowledge. They looked at that. Okay? They looked at that. It's very, this matter, this field is very technical. It's technical. It's like there's a lot of technicalities in it, and there's a lot of stuff, man. We hope one day we get to those, because we always start books and we don't finish them. Like the books of fiqh, they talk about stuff like this. But the most time we start with tahara, alhamdulillah, which is good, and salat, which is good, zakat, and then nobody come and the book is put to collect dust again. We never passed hajj and buyu and no. But you gotta get to this, the old chapter, so you can learn these things. But when we take a book, alhamdulillah, we start from the beginning, especially tahara, salat. These are very important because that obligatory elements. As for studying these issues, it's not for the laymen. These are for the judges, for the people who deal with this stuff. Do people come to me and you for their disputes? No, they go to the judge. So they're the one that they study these things in details. But it's good for us to know at least the basics, how things go. But from the basics is that you do not speak without knowledge. That's why, like I said, it's very important. Are we having a discussion? Alhamdulillah, you can say stuff. But if now you want to give an answer, then you have to know or don't give no answers. You understand the difference? Jazakumullah khairan, barakallahu feekum. Because in the classroom, when the teacher is asking you questions, you get it right and get it wrong. Do you get an A+ or get C-? Do you? In a classroom where the teacher is explaining to you the class, the lesson, he's explaining it, and a person get the right answer, does the teacher give him A+ for that? Give him thank you. He said thanks. Thank you, man, you got it right. Good man. But if he get it wrong, does he give him a 0? Nothing. But on the test, that's another thing. On the test, man, you get what you put out there. Likewise, if you have in a class and the teacher who's conducting the class, he opened the field, alhamdulillah, and to whatever, like, to make it for the people to see how it is. You're not just gonna always one guy's like and everybody's like this. No, you gotta get involved. Right or wrong, Sheikh? You gotta get involved. You gotta put hand on practice. You're gonna use your brain, your intellect, so you can understand. But at that moment, you're not giving answers or fatawa. At that moment, you're just trying to talk and participate. But now, if that teacher says, here is a question now, I want the right answer. Now, can you guess? No, you can't guess. In a conversation, you can guess, alhamdulillah, because based on what you understand. But now, in the question, you got to give the right answer. If you don't have it, say, I don't know. All right, Juan? Allahu A'lam. Gotta ask. This question has to be. I don't have no knowledge. Alhamdulillah. Maybe you can ask the ulama, inshallah. And based on the details and stuff, what kind of things. Psychologist also, that job itself gotta be asked. What's the permissibility of psychologist? Because the psychologist, what does they do? And because usually psychologists, quote unquote, they use some other stuff. You know, they talk about people's problems and spread them and stuff, you know, stuff like that. I don't know if there is such thing, say, Muslim psychologist, and it's permissible, and how far, me, I don't know. Alright, that one too has to be checked. Is it permissible or not? يعني, they call it علم النفس in Arabic, علم النفس. علماء النفس. طيب? جزاكم الله. But see, what that means, psychologist? Usually psychologists help the person with to gain what? The purification of the soul, tranquility. Man, that what these classes was about, man. We don't need no doctor. We have the Book of Allah. You know what I'm saying? People shouldn't go to a psychologist and sit there. Oh, listen, man, I've been on Zyrtec for 3 years and didn't work, and change it to, what is the other one? Fall off. Whatever, Zoloff. I thought you said fell off. I was going to say that's the name right there. You know? Huh? No, I'm not. I passed that one. Jazakallah khair. Now I'm just talking about some people, sometimes they suffer from depression. Huh? Muslims. They depressed. Why? The Quran, because they don't read Quran. You look at their life, no remembrance of Allah. They surrounded by shayateen. That's why they get depression. As for those who constantly remember Allah and obedient, they know depression, ya akhi. Because their heart is at ease, serenity, tranquility. طيب. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Now, last question. You mean a companion is like a friend? Yes. So usually when we say companions, people look at the companions of Prophet ﷺ. Alright, so you said friend. Some people, they have a friend as a kafir friend. Yes. Meaning, if it depends on the meaning of friend, meaning friend that they intimate and they talk to them, spend a lot of time. Now you cannot take them as friends and allies and the like. Allah tells us you don't. Now you may know somebody from before and they were nice people and you want to like keep some good manners with them, check on them. Hi, how are you doing today? They sick, you visit them, because that's good manners of Islam. Maybe Allah guide them to Islam, yes, but to take them as a close friends and hang with them and spend time with them, and that's no good. Huh? No, you can't associate with them. Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khair.